From the beginning, Glasgow's history has been synonymous with trees. This is modern-day Pollock. Throughout time, the landscape has changed, but one thing remains constant. A strange and mysterious link with trees. Here in House Hill Adventure Playground stands a petrified tree which is thought to be 350 million years old. The tree trunk was fossilised in the pre-carbon period. Local rumour has it that witches were hanged from the tree in the early 18th and 19th centuries. History and mystery still wrap themselves around this local adventure park.
Well, I hadn't seen this remarkable specimen until a few weeks ago, and it really is quite an astonishing fossil, because it's a petrified tree. That's to say, it's the remains of a tree that grew a long time ago, and over long geological periods it's been turned to stone. Glasgow has a famous example of petrified trees in Victoria Park, and they grew 300 million years ago. And I assume, although I'm not absolutely certain, that this is the same sort of thing. It's certainly not in position of growth. I mean, there's no way a fossil, which is whatever it is there, the best part of 5-6 feet high, could have survived from hundreds of millions of years, so like that. So it must have been brought here. So it's not in its original place of growth. Let's assume that it's the same kind of tree as the ones in Victoria Park. So it was growing a long time ago when the conditions in this part of Britain were tropical. And it was growing in a kind of swampy forest, maybe like the Everglades in Florida, that kind of place, a swamp forest. And the water level rose, or the place sort of silted up. So the base of the tree was under waterlogged, silty, oxygenless conditions. And the tree itself decayed away slowly, so that the bark and the wood slowly decayed away, and it was replaced by the silt and sand, which then became sort of as hard as concrete. You see, we're talking about hundreds of millions of years.
We have taken you back to prehistoric times, but early last century there was a famous connection with this area. Scotland's most renowned architect and designer, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, who went on to design the world-famous Glasgow School of Art, was given his first contract of employment here at House Hill House to design and furnish 2 of the rooms. The owner, a Miss Cranston, then commissioned Mackintosh to design her famous tea rooms in Glasgow's city centre. To Miss Cranston's dismay, House Hill House was razed to the ground by fire in 1936. More recently, in this park, there have been mysterious sightings of an eerie, gliding figure reported by residents.
Right, about 10 years ago, me and my boyfriend were coming down the back lane in the park when we seen a figure at the opposite end of the park with a glowing light around it. When we stood and watched it, it was as if the figure was floating along the back path and came up into the top gate. I was terrified and just wanted to get away at that point and didn't want to see any more. But the figure came out at the bottom of the gate, and the thing looked human, legs, arms, hair away down its back, and everything else. I had forgot all about the ghost, as I would say, that I had seen it. until I met somebody in the park about a year ago, and they started telling me that they had seen this strange thing, and it was a coincidence that I had experienced the same as what he did.
About 2 years ago in this park, I was just walking past this very tree with my dogs. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, just a usual out with the dog walk, and I heard something. Usually you'd hear owls, you hear everything in here, don't really bother. But then all of a sudden everything went rather quiet, and I turned round to my right and I seen a figure. At first I was spooked, and then I thought, no, it's just a person, someone else out walking their dog. But I noticed that the figure was glowing, that it may have been naked. So obviously my heart starts going a wee bit, my dogs start acting a bit funny, and to be honest with you, I was frightened out of my mind.
At first I thought maybe it was guys out on a stag night and they'd kicked somebody out. Guys do that, and they'd clothes on and try to make his way home. But then as we stood and watched it more, I knew that it wasn't that it had to be a ghost, because nothing could explain how it was floating in midair. So
It was an apparition, it was a glowing light and it floated alongside the river. I don't think anyone in their right mind would admit to this, but I'm in my right mind, and I thought it's about time that people knew in this area that there's something down here. Something spooky, something eerie, something that would frighten the life out of you, and frighten the life out of me.
I would like to be able to find out who it was, because obviously it must be the same person that keeps appearing. If two have already witnessed it, and there might be more people out there that's just no came forward to let us know. But I do think it is the same person that we've seen.
Right, a ghost has been seen to float in House Hill Park. It seems very likely the geographical topography has changed over the years, especially since there was once a house there and has since gone. Now, it's very well known, again, that there is a strong association with the ghost associates with the area as it once was. So this ghost floating would almost certainly be floating at the level that the land once was. There are quite a number of cases where the ghost has been self-illuminating. By that I mean the ghost itself is generating light. It's nothing to do with the surroundings, say ionising the air around and about it. I believe that it's actually glowing itself, integral to itself.
Right, what happened was it was a real winter's morning. It was 1978, I think it was the month of January. And part of the round that I did when I worked with the Scottish farmers was to deliver to the houses that were scattered throughout Pollock Estate. We came in this morning about 5:20, and as we entered the park, it hadn't long started to snow, just a slight film of snow had fallen that morning. It was still falling actually, but it had only been going for a couple of minutes. And we saw these footprints just right at the start of the park. So there was nothing else to see except these footprints and the headlights glare, and we just kept driving along, and we thought eventually we would catch up with whoever was making the footprints. Kept going, and still these footprints led out in front of us and led out in front of us. The van was doing about 10-15 miles an hour, and we thought we're eventually going to catch up, because as I say, the snow had only been falling for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Well, we never did catch up on whoever made those footprints, because when we came round the back of the house and came to this bridge here, the footprint stopped actually stone dead right at the bridge. Not at the side, I mean, like just right in the centre. Now, we pulled up, we had a look, we looked all around about, and we couldn't for the life of us discover how or where this person had gone. There was no way he could have jumped the river, there's no way he could have crossed the bridge, there was no way he could have gone backwards, there's no way, we just couldn't figure it. They just actually stopped stone dead, you know. The amazing thing was too that we never caught up in the person. You know, the snow had only been on for a couple of minutes, so we knew a minute in front of us, 50, 90 seconds or something, but we just couldn't catch up, and we were doing 10-15 miles an hour. I don't know what made them. Many a time over the past 20 odd years I've come back and stood at this particular spot and tried to figure it out.